Representing Kansas in our final press conference of the day, head coach Ray Bechard, Ainise Havili, Kelsie Payne, and Tayler Soucie. Coach, we'd ask you to begin with an opening statement.
Yeah, we're just extremely excited to be here representing our university, our athletic department. These young ladies have worked extremely hard. Obviously, the last couple of weeks have been a lot of fun for us. We feel like we've got more work to do, and we're excited about representing not only our conference, our university, and our athletic department. So, rock chalk, everybody. It's great to be here.
As I open the floor to questions for both the student athletes and the coaches, a reminder, please silence your cell phones and introduce yourself as well as the institution you represent.
I'm Jack Hammond with Volleyball Magazine. Ainise, now that you've had a few extra days to go over those last few minutes against USC, you've had a chance to calm down since the last press conference. What happened? How in the world did you guys do those last 6 points?
It's still super crazy. I watched that play. I watched last 6 points like 1,000 times. We all just looked at each other and relaxed, and we all said, we'll take this 1 point at a time, and we'll win each point and see how far we can go, and then we won. So.
Kelsie or Tayler, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I agree. I think that whole fifth set, we started down 0-4, and we kind of freaked out a little bit. We're like, man, this isn't going the way we want it to. What's happening? It's not working. Like, what's going on? And then we took a timeout, and we're like, you know what we have is enough. We have all the pieces that we need right here. We just have to trust in each other and know that we're all going to do our jobs. And so I think that's what happened. Everyone just did one thing better, and then it all worked out.
And that's not like the first time we've done that. I mean, that's been our mantra all season is 1 point at a time, and we're going to do it together.
Coach Mike Malloy, NCAA.com. Coach Cooker mentioned that you guys are friends earlier today, and that you've got some connections with Nebraska and Coach Pettit. I was just hoping you could elaborate on those relationships.
Yeah, Coach Pettit, as I look at somebody that's been as influential as anybody in the development of my career, it'd be Terry Pettit. When I was at Barton County Community College, he was the head coach here, and he went out of his way anytime I would pester him with questions. And then I started working his camps and his team camps, and had a pretty long conversation with him last night. And that transitioned into me getting the job at Kansas, and he still being at Nebraska, and he still felt like he was in a position to help volleyball grow at all levels. And and Coach Cook's been the same way. It's a little different relationship, but I've respected what he's done a great deal from afar. And he's an old Big 12 school, and we had great matches, and they had a great venue we enjoyed playing in, and he's done an outstanding job.
Matt Tate from the Journal World in Lawrence, Kansas. Coach and Kelsie and Ainise, both two first-team All-Americans for the first time in school history. I wonder what that means to you guys as athletes, and then also, Coach, just the program to have that significant accomplishment now in your, I guess, record books.
Kelsie, if you'd begin for us.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's a really big accomplishment, and I think it's something that all athletes strive for, and it's something that we all work towards. And so to be the first ones ever to do it together, it's really cool for us.
Yeah, it's a dream come true. Every athlete coming up sees sees the All-American team coming through club and hopes one day that they can be on that list. And now that we are, and I'm on the list with my best friend out here for the first time, and it's great.
Ainise?
These two, when we let them know earlier in the week, they talked about how much value they put in that award, but also how much value they put in it being, a lot of it having to do with being here. And certainly a team that advances deep in the tournament, it's going to create opportunities for individual awards. And Anise's been outstanding, Payne's been outstanding, and this whole team has collectively pulled together and created a season that we'll remember for a long time.
Ainise, do you have anything to add?
No.
I want to go back one more time to that USC win because it was such a dramatic ending, but it did look as if defense got a tremendous amount of the credit there because you had, you had Samantha Bricio, first team All-American, just powering away on there, and you don't have any defensive players up here, at least traditional defensive players. Can you talk about your defense, Coach, and what you had planned for that fifth set against USC and how you were able to execute that?
Well, late in that match, we had Soucie and Payne in front of Bricio, and Rigdon was our left side, so we said, hey, you got to get in front of the middle. They were in a two-hitter situation. They'd gone out of their 6-2 system, so we felt like we were organized there. But Cassie Waite made the dig of the match in that last rally. And we also had a stuff block from Payne and Soucie, and we also had some good releases. So we were pretty organized defensively. They didn't get a ton of real quality swings, but they won the ones they did. Soucie and Payne were organized blocking-wise. Rigdon did her job. And it's what it gets back to. As a staff, Coach Bird, Coach Todd, Coach Lucas, we always talk about, hey, do your job. Do your job, and if everybody individually is accountable to that, then we'll have a good result. But, you know, the ace serve by Waite was a big part of that run, too. That got us to deuce game at 13-all, and then you could sense then that the Jayhawks were going to do something pretty special.
For any of the players, I'm just curious how it's going to be playing in front of this crowd, because this is going to be a pro-Nebraska crowd, and if you kind of embrace that challenge.
Taylor?
Like we've talked about all season, we just play our game. It's our side of the net. It's what we do. We do our jobs, like Coach B said. We just have to focus on what we do every day, rely on our training, tune out everything else that's around us.
Didn't every school get 200 tickets? So it's equitable, right? Okay, I thought so.
Eric?
Ray, Eric Olson with the Associated Press. Not that it probably means much now, but I'm sure it'll be talked about on the telecast tomorrow that you guys are 86-1 against Nebraska all time. I just kind of what's your quick take on that?
I wish I'd have been part of that one. What year was that? These guys have never played Nebraska. Obviously, they know that they are an outstanding program. I think that speaks to two things, that obviously Kansas hasn't been competitive enough over the years in that situation, and Nebraska's been an elite volleyball program for a long time. So we'll speak to more recent history, hopefully tomorrow night, that we can create maybe a different situation.
Coach, I just wondered, do you have any idea about that tie? I know it was 1977, but do you know anything about it?
Yeah, I was a freshman at Barton County Community College, so playing hoops. I'm not sure what was going on in '77. I think they used to do multiple matches in a day, and maybe you played 2 sets, and if you split them, you called it good, and you moved on to the next match, would be my guess. So that's kind of unique.
Kelsie, we'll go back to a bad memory. Obviously, last year you lost in the first round of the NCAA tournament. Can you compare the pain of that defeat with this run, particularly beating USC?
Yeah, I think we talked about that a lot at the beginning of our season, is that we don't want that to define us. That was unfortunate for us, but I mean, we used that as motivation this year for sure. We knew what that felt like, and I think the returning players realized that we don't want to feel that ever again, and so far I think we've done a good job of avoiding that.
Kelsie, hi. Ryan Atula with the Austin American-Statesman. Jared Elliott was just in here, spoke very highly of you, and said, look, I missed in recruiting. Do you use that as a slight at all? Did you want to be a Longhorn and he just didn't pull the trigger?
I mean, I'm not going to say no, because I grew up in Austin and Texas was always a big part of my life. But I mean, once I started getting into more recruiting and looking into colleges, I realized that I did want to leave Austin. I did want to leave Texas and just like get away and go experience college, like kind of like a regular student, I guess. So yeah, I think leaving was a good choice for me, and that's awesome that he said that, though.
And then as a follow-up, Texas is really admiring what you guys have done, and I think Amy Neal said maybe she reached out to you afterwards, and I think Jarrett said he reached out to you. Do you feel like this is a Big 12 versus Big 10 Final Four now? You know, Texas and Kansas versus
I
two
guess
Big
so.
Ten schools?
I guess so. Yeah, all the girls are really great. They all texted us and like tweeted at us and told us congratulations and like how excited they were for us. And so it's awesome that they can be here too and we can experience this all together.
Kevin Haskin, Topeka Capital Journal. Ray, you mentioned the 200 allotment. I'm wondering how resourceful will your fans have to be, and is it disappointing too because you cultivated such a following this season, and now you're 2 hours up the road, and it's difficult to get in this place.
Yeah, we'll have to have resourceful fans, and they'll find a way. Obviously, we're going to be a little outnumbered tomorrow night, but the fans that really want to get in the building and see us will be there. And we're excited about that. And it's important for this event, for it to be a lot of energy in the building, for it to be sold out. So nobody does it better than Omaha. I've been here a few years ago when Nebraska and Penn State were getting after it, and it was unlike any environment I've ever seen. And so it's outstanding for our sport. It'll be a great spectator event tomorrow night, and hopefully Jayhawk fans are resourceful and find their way in here.
Coach, Mike Patterson, Omaha World Herald. How important is it going to be for your team to get off to a strong start the way you did against USC?
Well, I think that'd be great. I think our first contact will be essential. How we pass, how we serve, that kind of settles everybody down and creates offensive and defensive opportunities. I think you can't get too panicked if it doesn't go well early. You can't get too confident if it does. You're going to have to play a couple hours of good volleyball from start to finish to have some success tomorrow night.
Coach, Chris Lazzarino, Kansas alumni. You guys played the late game on Saturday, a long day of travel, and now travel today with finals. Worked in the middle of all that. How tough has preparation been to get the team ready?
Well, you think, we finished on Saturday, and this match isn't until Thursday that you got time, but we did have a long travel day Sunday, but there was a lot of smiles on the plane. And then for our young ladies who represent our university in a great way academically too, obviously it's been some stress with finals, and we still got some finals to go, but hey, we'll take it. We'll take it every year if they say you got to take a few finals during Final Four week, during semifinals week. We don't have a problem with that. We just got to manage our time, try to manage your sleep patterns, your stress, and all the requests that people are making around you.
Coach, Ainise has been quoted as saying that she grew up in a family where modesty was encouraged, maybe overt displays and being overly public about things was discouraged. Those are not normally traits you would find in a setter or want in a setter. Would you comment on her and her ability or whatever ability she's put into it, despite the fact that she was brought up in a family that said, be modest, be calm? We
found out, our staff found out on Monday that she was a first-team All-American. So we brought her in, told her. She was excited. She was excited for Kansas volleyball. So Tuesday I thought, hey, I should call her mom, So I called Mom up, and I said, hey, how's everything going? Good. I said, Ainise called you, right? She said, no. So here's a kid that's first-team All-American, hasn't, humble enough that she didn't think she needed to call home and say, hey, guess what happened to me? I said, well, your daughter's first-team All-American. Okay, I'm going to break the news to you. So that aside, off the court, when she gets on the court, she's an intense, fiery competitor who does not like to lose. And she creates great opportunities emotionally for our team, competitively for our team, and there's nobody else we'd rather have running our team than Ainise Havili.
Coach, when you look at the other semifinal matchup, there's two teams that are pretty unbalanced. There's one player that gets a lot of swings on those two. You and Nebraska are a little different, and there is a lot of balance. You're probably the most balanced of the four teams that are here. What is that like to prepare against a team like Nebraska that doesn't have one clearly dominant hitter?
It makes it tougher. USC, we had a sense where the ball was going to go 35, 40% of the time. But here, they have 4, 5, 6, I got a couple kids on the bench come off and go off. So everybody's got to stay in their role. There's tendencies always when it's a 20-20 match, but we need to understand that they've got a lot of good offensive players, defensive players. So we'll create opportunities defensively where we'll understand some tendencies, but also know that they could go outside of what their tendencies are.
Coach, Greg Eklund for Kansas Public Radio. This has some special meaning for Maggie Anderson. Can you talk about how she has fit well into your program for someone who came in relatively late when she was making her commitment?
Yeah, she's from Lincoln, Nebraska, first and foremost. And then she had kind of made a verbal commitment to Kearney. And we had her at a camp, and we said, oh, bummer. We think you could do great things in our program. And I think she took that home and started thinking about it. We had a great conversation with her coach at Kearney, Coach Squires, and then it worked out that she could join us. And these guys will tell you here that Maggie Anderson brings it each and every day. And the culture she brings to the gym from a communication standpoint is unmatched. And we wouldn't be the team that we are without her. And I made a promise to her parents when she came to Kansas. I said, okay, we're going to play University of Nebraska someday. So they were pretty thrilled after the USC match that this is the way we were going to do it. So.
For any of the players, we mentioned that USC victory, but just the way it happened at the very end, I'm not saying you weren't a competent team, but how much has that done for your confidence going into this big stage here?
Kelsie, can you begin?
Okay. Well, we started 2-0, so that was good. That was awesome for us. That was a confidence boost right there. And then we fell down the next two sets. And the fifth set, when it's 0-4 again, you know, we're down, and then it's 13-9, and we're like, well, we have 2 points to make something happen. And so I think we all just looked at each other and we're like, now is the time where we grind out and we do what we know how to do. And so winning that match is huge for us. And I think there's been other games in the past, like our 5-set match against Texas, even though we lost. I think at that point we realized, you know, like we can play with elite teams. We're good enough, and so it's been great for us.
Tayler, do you have anything?
I think sometimes you get your confidence from the people around you, and I know that my team trusts in me as much as I trust in them, and that's the great confidence boost right there.
Ainise?
Yeah, I think throughout the season, starting off the way we did, 19-0 built up to this confidence that we have. We knew we were playing the number 1 seeded team in the tournament after we beat Loyola Marymount, and we, yeah, there was nerves, but we knew we could beat them. We knew everybody's beatable. You know, nobody's invincible, so carrying that in really helped us.
Ray, can you touch on the message that Jared sent to you? I don't know if he texted you, called you after you guys beat USC, and also just kind of the uniqueness that, I don't know, maybe volleyball coaches have that where he'd be willing to want to help you out.
Yeah, it's a small world in volleyball, and I was walking down the hallway this morning, saw 4 or 5 coaches from other places, and they're excited. So we attend this convention every year. We build relationships that are long-term, that are beyond wins and losses and the sport itself, and that's what's cool about it. But Jarrett's always been, we've always been, since we've been in the league a long time together, very supportive of each other unless we're playing each other. But even then, we gain information from each other. And we're a big Texas fan right now because we're Big 12 fans, obviously, so we would hope that they can advance. But anything I can do to help their situation or anything they think they can do to help ours, and that's our whole staff and their whole staff, because we represent more than just our university, we represent our conference, and we want volleyball to be the best it can be in the Big 12.
Are there any further questions?
Hi, Coach. Tim Pereira with the Omaha World Herald. 4 years ago, you were 3-13 in the Big 12, and it's been a pretty quick rise to the national semifinals. Can you elaborate a little bit about what's gone on over the last 4 years?
Yeah, I was talking to Coach Chamberlain was with me during that 3-13. I think Coach Bird maybe too. We weren't a bad team. We just couldn't figure out to win at the end. We had an RPI like of upper 40s or low 50s. We beat Minnesota that year. We went to Final Four. But in the end, we needed people who could close and felt confident in closing. And then we brought the Soucies of the world and Cassie Waits and Janae Halls and the class before that and Caroline Jarmock, and we could go on. But we weren't that far away. And then we had a breakthrough the next year, and I think the momentum's just built since then. And we can thank now this group of sophomores that have kind of helped us carry on that momentum. But it's been a collective effort. Many classes taking responsibility for that process, and now I think we built a culture where that's the expectation.
Final call for questions.
Coach, both teams limited opponents to under a 200 attack percentage. How important is it going to be, maybe from a serve and receive standpoint, to get Nebraska out of system and to stay in the system yourself?
It's critical. It's first contact will be a huge part of what goes on tomorrow night. They're great first contact reception. They're steady serving, so we'll have to do a great job in that area. And our serve a lot of times sets up our defense in those numbers. So we take some risk with our serve, but we got to serve tough and in to have some success tomorrow night.
Clint Robus from the Lincoln Journal-Star. For the players, or the athletes, Minnesota and Nebraska are both in the middle of finals week, and I was just curious if you guys had finals to take this week, or kind of where you are, at least in the semester, or even if you've had kind of a crazy week to this point with classes and everything.
Let's go down the line with Ainise to start.
Yeah, it's been pretty hectic this week. Had to try to fit most of your finals in 2 days. I took 3 finals yesterday. A lot of girls have finals to take at the hotel after practice, so it's been a lot to do in a couple of days, but I think it calmed my nerves a lot more. I couldn't really focus on the game. I had to focus on all the finals that I had to try not to fail, so it's been a blessing in disguise, I would say, I think.
Kelsie?
Yeah, I think this is like the best kind of stress you could ask for. I mean, if you're going to have finals during Final Four week, you can't really complain. I mean, I'd rather be doing this than, I guess, sitting at home. So, I mean, I had 2 finals on Monday and 1 yesterday, and I have 1 to take tonight. So, but I'm done after that, so that's all that matters.
Yeah.
Taylor?
Yeah, I'm with Kelsie. I'm done tonight too, but there's a big group of us that have to take one tonight. Like Coach B said earlier, it's important to manage your time, and I think this has helped us manage our time and helped us, like they said, not focus necessarily just on volleyball, but, get out of the state of volleyball a little bit to relax and calm down.
We'll take one final question. Seeing none, I'd like to thank Coach Bechard and the student athletes for joining us.
Thank you.
Good luck, Coach.